Alrighty, so now let's go to our power rankings. Since we've seen every team play this week, we can now kind of move our power rankings, who's better than some teams, so who needs to go up, who needs to go down, and who needs to come into the list, because I'll tell y'all right off the rip, we've got three teams all falling out, so we've got to add 3 more teams on this list, 3 new teams. So we'll start from 10, work our way up to number 1. So let's start here at new number 10 team. The Rams are officially out of the top 10, folks. We've taken them out. We dropped them for losing against the Jets to number 10, and then we just dropped them again because this offense, folks, it's not a great offense. 9 points. I guess, I do know that Seattle's defense is very good, but still the offense, you're playing in a tough division, a tough conference, and you're trying to make the playoffs, and you still only put up 9 points. Can't trust Jared Goff. Can't trust them. So unfortunate there. So Rams are now out, and our new number 10 team is going to be the Tampa Bay Bucks. I mean, yes, they played absolutely fantastic last week against the Lions, but let's kind of, take it with a grain of salt there. That's why we're kind of moving the Bucks into that 10 spot. They did what they needed to do, fantastic, and they kind of blew away my expectations. And so we're going to give them credit for winning, but we're not going to give them too much credit for winning against the Lions, who, as we all know, their coaches were all over the place. It was kind of like a coach's shuffle. Somebody took all the coaches, shuffled the deck. All right, you go here, you go here, you go here, you go here. All right, you out, you're out, you're out, you're out, you're out. And then you go here, you go here, you go here, you go here. I mean, we had like research and analysis people coaching defense. It's bizarre. So, yes, the Bucks did good. We're not going to credit them too much for beating a Lions team, but Tom Brady looked good, Mike Evans looked good, Chris Godwin looked good, Rob Gronkowski looked good, and Antonio Brown looked good, and that's all we need to see looking good at the end of the season. It may have taken them a while to get on the, the power rankings here, but hey, better late than never, and they're getting hot at the right time, so hopefully they can kind of carry that over to week 17 into the playoffs, because I would like to see Tom Brady, make a decent push for, playoffs, talking about, Tom Brady and the Patriots dynasty, arguing about that 10 years down the line. I can get behind that, especially if Tom Brady wins a Super Bowl this year. It would be crazy for that kind of discussion of who gets more credit, Tom or Bill. It will be fun to have in 5-7 years down the road if Tom Brady can make, a huge splash here in this playoffs. So Bucks at 10. Alrighty, new number 19. We're not knocking the Dolphins off, but you'll see where we put them in a second. So number 9, new number 9 team is going to be the Pittsburgh Steelers. Folks, yes, this team had a little bit of offensive troubles a couple, 3 straight weeks. Can we all relax? I mean, we all talk shit about teams in the early season, but they get free passes for some reason. Why are we giving the Bucks kind of a free pass? I haven't really seen anybody bash the Bucks all season, folks. And everybody's real quick to bash the Steelers because they were 11-0 and finally had bad games. So the offense gets back on track. We dropped them out of the top 10 because of, their offensive woes, but they finally got them back. The Steelers defense is getting healthier. These receivers are not dropping passes anymore. Big Ben's arm, kind of got a little bit of momentum, a little bit of rhythm in that game. Look for the Steelers in week 17. We have them above the Bucks because I think I rely on this offense a little bit more, even though they kind of got out of their slump. And I like the Steelers defense better than the Bucks defense. I think if the Steelers offense once again struggles, which is definitely a possibility, this Steelers defense can kind of take over and keep the game close. Now, where the Bucks, if their offense struggles, their defense really doesn't bail them out. That's why they have 5 losses already this season. So love the Steelers. Love to see them kind of get back on track. They were only kind of good in the second half, so we kind of have to take them slowly again. That's why we're only putting them at 9 and not any higher. But, the Steelers back on track. Absolutely love it. Steelers at 9. Alrighty, new number 8 team. Oh, I can't wait. Colts, you're out. You're out of the top 10, and hopefully you're out of the playoffs so Phillip Rivers can finally retire and I can, be right about the man. So Colts are out of the top 10. Gives me pleasure saying that. Gave me pleasure putting that man on the trash list. And now the new number 8 team, we're going to move the team up a spot. We're going to put the Miami Dolphins. Now, this defense is the best defense in the league. I don't even know if it's an argument anymore. Maybe Seattle a rising, but Dolphins best defense in the league. I think we're comfortable saying that now. Now the offense, it definitely struggles. I don't think anybody's doubting that. But once again, I'm putting the Dolphins kind of lower on our top 10 because we love their defense. The defense kind of keeps all the games close, even against the Raiders when they gave up 10 points in the fourth quarter. They were still keeping it close all game. It just we needed a spark offensively, and we did finally get it. So that kind of gives the Dolphins promise a little bit. That it struggled, but hey, the potential is there for that Dolphins offense. So with that being said, we love this Dolphins defense. The offense does struggle a little bit, here and there. So we got to kind of keep this Dolphins team a little bit lower on our power rankings until, if Tua can go out and throw 350 yards and no turnovers and really air it out during the games and have the receivers catch it. Devontae Parker's healthy. That definitely will help the Dolphins as well. But we still love this Dolphins defense. And, against any other team, against really any team, I think the Dolphins can hold and be a close game, competitive game. We saw it against the Chiefs because of their defense. Really just got to shore up that offense. And until they do that, they really probably won't go higher than 8. Alrighty, then we got a new number 7 team, and this one is truly unfortunate. We are going to have to knock the Browns out of the top 10, and I know you're probably thinking, oh, that's unfair because they had no wide receivers. And, if they just lost because they had no wide receivers, I would agree with y'all. But it's once again, we're seeing Baker Mayfield fumble it in the fourth quarter at the worst time. We were right about Phillip Rivers finally, so we're kind of going to take this Browns team with even more grain of salt because we know this. We're seeing Baker Mayfield over and over and over again fumbling the ball and doing it at the worst time. So yes, they're still good. They'll probably be 11 or 12 outside looking in, but for right now we got to move them out until Baker Mayfield can start playing clean games of football without weapons. How are you looking without weapons and Baker Mayfield is struggling? So unfortunate. Alrighty, so with that being said, the new number 7 team is going to be the New Orleans Saints. I think they're getting hot at the right time. Alvin Kamara cannot be stopped. 6 touchdowns. That's pathetic. That is truly pathetic to give up defensively. Shame on the Vikings. Truly shame on them. So the offense is getting, back on track. Taysom Hill still working. They ran a couple of gadget plays with him. He ended up scoring a touchdown. Drew Brees is looking okay. Not looking the best. 2 interceptions, no touchdowns, and the arm was a little bit off, a little wonky in that game. But overall, the Saints defense was holding a little bit. The Saints offense, they've got weapons everywhere. So, if Drew Brees is throwing, 0 touchdowns and 2 interceptions, they could ride Alvin Kamara. And if they do, God forbid, need to make the switch to Taysom Hill, I think they can get that done as well. So Saints defense definitely needs to be shored up just a little bit. Giving up 33 points to the Vikings, that's kind of inexcusable as well. But it was kind of, Christmas Day game, a lot of factors going into that. So the offense is still good. The defense I still think is very solid, so we put the Saints at 7. Alrighty, Packers no longer number 6, but they will be moving up. All right. The new number 6 team is going to be the Tennessee Titans. Now, we are going to kind of penalize them for losing against the Packers and in the fashion that they did, but we're still believing in this Titans team. They do kind of bounce back pretty decently well, so, I don't expect, this kind of be the downfall of the Titans, and I kind of hinted at it and kind of said it during when we were doing the cash and trash list that, the Titans were in the elements, folks. If you put, the Bucks in the elements against the Packers, they lose. You put the Steelers in the elements against the Packers, they may not lose, but it will be definitely a close game. The Dolphins, you put them in the elements against the Packers, they lose. You put the Saints in the elements against the Packers, they lose. Titans, we just saw they lose. Ravens, I don't know how they would fare. I would say it would be probably a close game, and they do know cold weather in Baltimore, but they do run the ball a lot more, so Ravens may have success. Seattle, once again, kind of may have success, but it's definitely going to be a close game. Bills, Kansas City Chiefs are really the only 2 teams that I think could beat the Packers or kind of be competitive with the Packers if it came down to, a blizzard game in the elements. Now, luckily for the Bills and Chiefs, they don't have to do that because if they face the Packers, it's going to be in Tampa Bay on a neutral field. They don't because they're in the AFC. So I don't think it's just the Titans that would have struggled in that situation against the Packers. It's unfortunate because the Titans were the ones that had to go and play that game. So we still love this Titans team. I still love the camaraderie. Mike Vrabel is going to have this team ready to go in the playoffs. Derrick Henry is still good. He still almost ran for 100 yards himself, which, individually that game for him was very good. Ryan Tannehill, not so much, and that's kind of what we know. When the running game isn't as good as it could be, Ryan Tannehill flounders a little bit. And, in the elements, we kind of see that as well. So still liking this Titans team. The defense kind of got beat a little bit. The offense couldn't get anything going. But, we think the elements had to play a lot, had a big play in that result for the Titans two nights ago. What was it, Sunday Night Football? So we're not ready to battle this Titans teams yet. We'll put them at number 6. Alrighty, number 5, and we're going to leave the Ravens here at number 5. Good, solid win against the Giants last week. Really don't know what to do with this team. I don't want to drop them down, any, because, they're still one of the better teams in the league. The running attack is fantastic. Lamar Jackson, kind of resorting back to under 200 yards, which we know was going to happen. But still, this Ravens defense is good. The Ravens offense is good. The running game is good. Everything's real good about this Ravens team. They just kind of beat up, the Giants a little bit. Not a huge, great win. A solid win, I would say. Daniel Jones back. He still kind of looked decent in that game. So really couldn't move the Ravens here anymore, because really the top 4, I mean, they're better than the Ravens, I would say. So Ravens kind of have to stay at this 5 seed, even though they won the game, unfortunately. Alrighty, new number 4 team. No longer the Seattle Seahawks. We are going to move the Packers back up into this situation. We kind of saw the Packers, kind of our one knock on them is, they don't kind of finish games all the time, or they'll have some good quarters and just kind of that will be it. In their 3 losses, that's kind of what it was. Aaron Rodgers still played good, but just maybe one quarter or some drives, and they kind of fall off for the rest of the game. So we still have this kind of knock on the Packers. Now they kind of definitely proved us wrong, against the Titans. They were good from the start to the finish, putting up the points, putting up the yards, having Aaron Rodgers do it. The ground game did it. I mean, literally everything was great for the Packers last week. So, with that, definitely kind of made our kind of knock on the Packers, kind of our one red flag on the Packers come down a little bit, maybe be a little bit less red. But, it's still there, and it's still something that we have to keep in the back of our minds, kind of like we did with Phillip Rivers and kind of like what we're doing with Baker Mayfield. Not as much as we're going to kind of put stake into this Packers team, but it is still there. They played very well this week, and we can move them up to number 4, because when Aaron Rodgers is 100% and everything's going right and the running game is good and he's throwing it to Davante Adams, we see what they can do. It's kind of unstoppable a little bit. So we can move the Packers up to number 4. Alrighty, we move the Titans down a little bit, so they are no longer the number 3 seed, but the new number 3 team is going to be the Seattle Seahawks. Their defense is getting shored up. Love to see that. And the offense kind of was doing good in the second half against the Rams. They put up 2 touchdowns, I believe, in the second half. Very, very well done. Getting the points. I mean, DK Metcalf had a decent game. I think he was the leading wide receiver for the Seattle Seahawks. Am I bugging? I am not bugging. 6 receptions, 59 yards. Yeah, he didn't have, a classic DK Metcalf monster game, but he still did everything that he needed to do to secure a Seahawks win, so we can definitely get behind that. Yeah, 2 touchdowns in the second half. Let's see how kind of long these touchdowns were. 7 plays, 4 minutes, 30 seconds. All right, decent touchdown there. And then once again, 9 plays, 4.5 minutes as well. So their defense steps up big. Love their defense. Held the Rams under 9 points. Very well done. They got their offense going in the second half. So watch out for the Seahawks come down the stretch and in the first round of the playoffs. They locked up that division title. So well done by them as well. Just closing out the season, looking good. Everything shoring up. And that's exactly where you want to be. Week 16, shoring everything up. So Seahawks at number 3. All right, the last 2, we got to keep them like this. Bills at 2 and Chiefs at number 1. I mean, folks, this Bills offense is probably the best offense, just individually the best offense that is in the top 10, even probably better than the Kansas City Chiefs in totality, their offense. So love what Josh Allen's doing, getting the ball to Stephon Diggs and letting that man work. Not turning the ball over. The defense is holding teams. I mean, they just held the Patriots offense to under 10 points as well. The Patriots offense is a little worse than the Rams offense, so we're not putting too much stake into that the Bills defense, even though it's still very good. So everything about the Bills, I'm absolutely loving it. Josh Allen's playing out of his mind. I never even thought he would get to this level of play, like even, not even in his fourth year, but in his like ninth, 10th, 13th year. I never expected Josh Allen to play this well. So the fact that he's doing it, well done to him. Very well done, very well done by the Bills. Now, I'll tell you why I have the Chiefs at number 1. They're 14-1, folks. They do not lose games. Yes, they're in some close games, but I'd rather you win a couple of close games than have a ton of blowout games, kind of like the Bills are having. They're just blowing teams out, which I love. I mean, I'm not knocking you for blowing out a team, but you don't have that adversity yet. So when we get into the playoffs and games start going awry and things aren't going to, your schedule or your game plan, how are they going to react? We don't have a lot of tape of the Bills on that, whereas the Chiefs, we do have a lot of games, the Chargers game, this Falcons game, waiting to the last second to score, taking all game to score for everything to really come together, but they shore up their defense. I mean, they don't get blown out in those games that are close. They, the defense is doing their job. All right, we're holding you. It's just the offense maybe sputters a little bit sometimes, but at the end of the day, they find ways to win, and that's why we love this Kansas City Chiefs team. Now, they also kind of blow out teams. They can score real quick. They can put up 17 in like 3 minutes, folks. Score, get a nice 3 and out, score again in a minute, get another 3 and out, or get a turnover because you're like, oh my God, they just put up 14 points in a matter of a minute. Oh my goodness, they fumble the punt, they muff the punt, another 3 and out, they can't get anything going, and then they're ready to score again. The Bills, they really can't do that. I mean, they can do it. I mean, Josh Allen, I would say, has the potential to do it, but this Chiefs team, they do it on a game-to-game basis. They do it they're doing it basically every game, folks. When they score in bunches, or they're kind of, in a close game. So either way, the Chiefs are getting good experience. They know how to blow out teams, and they know how to win close games. So that's why the Chiefs are number 1 and the Bills are number 2.